Hey, welcome everyone to the live stream. It's Wednesday, at least where I'm at, and I hope you're having a great week so far. Jesus told his disciples that in this life you will have trouble. Now, I'm sure he wasn't talking about kitchen renovation trouble, but nonetheless, it is the topic of tonight's live stream, the different problems and hopefully solutions that we can come up with to battle against the troubles and the problems that come into a kitchen renovation experience. There is a poll in the chat there somewhere that you can vote on. So whether or not your last kitchen renovation experience was a complete nightmare, or it was sort of usual, or maybe above average or above better. And hopefully that's the case for most of you. So make sure you do vote on that if you've had any experience with a kitchen renovation in the past. What I've done tonight is come up with a bunch of different topics, and we're going to just kind of go through them. And a little secret here for you. I didn't really prepare any answers. This is just the way I do things. It makes it easier on myself if I don't prepare. So we're just going to bring up these different problems that can arise, and then we'll just chat about them. I have about 10 of them that we'll go through. And of course, as always, if you're watching this live, or even if you're watching the replay, make sure that you put in the chat or in the comments maybe a particular problem or question that you need help with your kitchen renovation, or something that maybe would benefit some of the viewers that are watching, because everyone working together makes the whole thing better. So you are more than welcome to do that, and I thank you all. So big hi to everyone who's tuning in. I do have my tea ready, and we're going to jump in right away. But before I do, hopefully you've checked out last Saturday's video, which was, what was it, 10 countertop mistakes that you definitely need to want to avoid. Really good tips in there, good nuggets, and hopefully with every piece of content that I put out, there's at least something that someone can take away from it that will help them in their journey in designing their kitchen or renovating their kitchen or whatnot. So I got a sip of tea. All right, let's get into this. So, like I said, if you are able to put something in the chat feed, a question, please do, and we'll try to get to them as we go along. I see lots of you here, so hi to everyone who's on so far. I do appreciate you all coming on. So the first big problem that we can run into in a kitchen design, these aren't in any particular order or order of importance, just the way I wrote them out. This is this one here. Oh, and did you like, I'm the CEO of kitchens? I don't know if anyone picked up on that, but I thought it was funny. Budget overrun, going over your budget. So this is a pretty common problem, and a lot of these, actually all of these problems that we'll talk about tonight are things that I've experienced in the industry, designing and selling, installing, managing projects for kitchens for a long, long time, 20 years of doing this, and making all the mistakes, and making probably all of these mistakes as well. And so these are problems that you learn to overcome. And one of the important things with any problem is you come up with some kind of solution, and hopefully we can provide that tonight as we chat about them. So this is one of the issues that comes up a lot that I've seen over the years, and you may have run into yourself, and that's budget overrun, going over the budget, maybe not even knowing what your budget is, how to even set a budget, and that can cause a lot of issues down the road. Now, one of the biggest ways to solve this issue, of course, is just better planning and not rushing into the experience and the adventure of renovating your kitchen without really going through all the details that you need to, and crossing off everything that you can in order to get some kind of accurate figure and number that you can work with. And a lot of times this doesn't happen, or it happens, but a lot of consumers are not aware of how much things cost, and that can cause issues. And especially when you start to add on little things along the way to your design, and how these little things can just add up and cause the budget to just be super inflated, and you're not even aware of it. And what happens is it causes great disappointment at some point in the process, because you got to start pulling back and Xing out things that you wanted to have. I don't know if you ever watched the show. I think it's Love It or List It. And of course, it's totally scripted, and I get it. It's just the way they do things. But they always have, in every episode, there's always some problem that comes up that they have to that they don't have the budget for. There's always some issue that they come across that they have to steal from over here in order to pay for it. So they can't do the dining room, or they can't do the kitchen, or the kids' bedroom, or whatever it is. There's always some kind of issue that comes up. And every time I watch that show, I find it interesting, just the different ways they script into the show all the different issues. Now, the truth behind it is all those issues are probably true, and those are all issues that definitely come up. And it's something that we sometimes don't have any control over. And so what do we do in that case? Well, we have to, reconfigure the budget, or hopefully have some contingency in that budget for those things that arise. But having a budget that gets blown out of the water can be very disappointing. And of course, the homeowners on those shows are always like, "Oh, I can't believe this. So I just want to get out of this house." Of course, one partner wants to stay and one partner wants to go. And so the fight is on between, you have to make sure that you got to make this work, or we're definitely getting out of here. But that's a real life issue that I've seen people getting disappointed because they can't have maybe the countertop they dreamed of, or something else in the kitchen that has to, they can't have exactly what they wanted because of a budget issue. And those are sometimes can be problems that you can avoid with better planning, maybe upfront. And maybe sometimes are things that you just can't avoid because there's no way you could have known that the pipes were routed that way, and you have to totally redo all the plumbing. But in any case, you can definitely plan for those contingencies in your budget, and it's better to have a little more than to have a little less, so that you can get the exact kitchen that you want. At the end of the day, your kitchen needs to be functional. It needs to be able to serve you and your needs in the home, and what you not only want but need or dream of. And that's really important. So planning that out ahead helps with that. I don't know if we can ever solve the budget problem completely because of all these little things that we just can't foresee, but the more planning, the better. So that's the first one, budget. Let me jump back to the comments, and we'll go from here. I love I love all the comments, and I'll miss a whole bunch of these. Oh, yeah. So here you go. Asbestos. That's from something I missed. All right, Reed, in the design stage, a corner cabinet for the microwave and toaster oven. The designer says it will cause bird mouth corners. Bird mouth, is that a big issue? I've never heard the term bird mouth corners, so I don't know what that means. That's something new to me. You got me, Reed. I have never heard of a bird mouth corner. I'm not sure what they're trying to say. But, it sounds like it's a big issue to me. I don't think I wanna have bird mouth anything. So, you may wanna get some clarification on what exactly that means. How do you deal with flooring that is behind the kitchen base cabinets? It has asbestos, so, debate about leaving it there or possibly taking it out. That's a tough one. Um, I mean, probably getting it remediated is the right decision. However, if you're not touching it at all, what about the flooring that's not behind the base cabinets? Because that must have asbestos too, right? So does that have to be remediated? Asbestos is not something you want to joke around with. So I would say it's best to get it taken care of and get it dealt with properly, than to risk not doing it. Of course, that's an expense. Everything in a reno is more expensive than you think. Every single thing. And then Boston Bob says, I bought a pizza for the crew last Wednesday, $13,000. What pizza is that? That's a good one. All right. Oh, here we go. Hello, friends. Our renovation was caught up in the supply chain issues of 2021 and 2022, and there's still supply chain issues in 2023. So if you are planning a kitchen renovation, beware. There's still supply chain issues out there. All right, cool. Let's just go to the next one. Very cool. Oh, you had to settle for quartz. I wish I could say that I had to settle for quartz, rather than quartzite. Well, I'm sure you got a nice countertop. All right. Hey, Jackie's here. Hey, Jackie. Oh, so many comments. Thanks. I'm gonna miss some of these comments, but I'm gonna continue going on. And Jackie's here. Where's Jackie? She's here. And let's. What kind of pizza company is this? All right. Oh, Tom. Hey, Tom. I'm in the middle of a total demo on a 125-year-old house. Somehow, no surprises. Wow. That is amazing. Yeah, you'd expect there'd be lots of surprises in a 125-year-old house. Cool. Oh, thanks. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Hopefully the content's valuable. All right, let's go to the next one here. So we have budget overruns. That's something that can be kind of solved, I guess, or at least dealt with a little bit. Delays. So this is a big one. Of course, we just looked at supply chain issues was one of the comments, and there's lots of things that can cause delays in a kitchen renovation. How do you deal with delays? What's the solution to delays? Well, realizing that you're just super blessed in the first place to be able to renovate your kitchen. So all the delays in the world, still not that big a deal in light of everything else in the world. So I'll put that out there. The other thing you can do is also plan the best you can to make sure that your camera doesn't fail in the middle of a live stream like mine does, but to also cross off as many things, think about as many things as possible that could go wrong, and not to set yourself up for failure, but to kind of, calculate, okay, plumbing, electrical, flooring, asbestos, make a list of all these things and try to figure out what's the likelihood that some of these things are going to cause you an issue. And then you sort of have to deal with those in one by one, knocking them off the list. There's things you're never going to be able to deal with, and there's things that are going to cause delays that you have no control over. I've told stories before on the channel of just things that are completely out of my hands and out of the installer's hands and out of the client's hands. What do you do in that case? You just have to grin and bear it, especially for the homeowner. I don't know what the best solution is. Do you fight and holler and scream and yell? Maybe you do have to do that sometimes. Do you just have to like say, okay, like whatever, we'll deal with this? I don't know. Everyone has their own way of dealing with things, and I think the best solution is just uh, let's calm down. Let's have a cup of tea and let's think about it for a minute, and then we'll come up with solutions. I think as someone who is in the industry, coming up with some of these solutions and problems that I've had all kinds of different clients on the phone screaming at me about stuff, demanding things, and really they had every right to, in the sense that it's their money, and now I'm causing some big problem in their life because things aren't happening the way they want it to happen, which I totally understand, whether it be my fault or not. And I'm in the, I have to do something about it, whether I can or can't. And that's always an interesting situation. But so in that case, and if you're an industry professional, just continue to be professional, help the client to the very best of your ability, and do your best to be upfront with anything that could be a delay down the road, like project lead times and when things are, going to be installed and what to expect. The more the client, the more you, the homeowner, knows in advance of what's happening with their project, the less upset and the better you'll be able to deal with those things as they arise. So, I've come across a lot of associates in the industry who, in fact, I even heard it recently where someone didn't show up to a job and it's like, well, they forgot. Like, you didn't forget. Stop. Like, just be upfront with the client and tell them what's really going on. They'll appreciate it that much more. So that goes a long way in getting the job done. Now, of course, delays. There's one thing you should think about in considering a delay, and that's if you're taking out your cabinetry and you're getting ready for an installation, and there's the likelihood that there could be some hiccup in your cabinets coming in on time or things getting installed on time. Think about leaving the sink base as long as possible, the very last thing that you take out, before you have those issues. So that you're not stuck without a sink for an extended period of time. Now, this isn't always possible, but it is one thing that you can plan for, is get rid of the sink, the very last, and that way you can still at least have some kind of functioning kitchen when everything else is gutted and there's a delay in your cabinets for 2 weeks or whatnot. That's a really good tip, and it's solved so many issues for homeowners who otherwise would just be in their bathroom with their dishes in their sink or their bathtub trying to get all that stuff done. So not always possible, but in the event of a delay, those are some of the things that I would suggest doing. especially just to keep your sanity in the kitchen while things are all sideways. Very good. That's a good one. Um, humor is the only way to say saying during a huge renovation. Humor and Irish whiskey. And we got an amen to that. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Well, I mean, what do you do? Sometimes you just gotta laugh, or you're just gonna end up crying. Going through kitchen upgrade. Hi, Lisa. Right now, new appliances, some cabinets to rebuild, others to upgrade fronts, quartz countertop, and backsplash. Trying to keep the kitchen as functional as possible. Awesome. That sounds really cool. Don't time all your stuff to arrive within a day of each other. Put a couple weeks between the cabinet install and countertops. Less risky that way. I agree. Give yourself some space. Though the issue is that normally it's a rush. You just it's the best thing. It's the last thing rather. Your kitchen is especially in a new build. Your kitchen's the last thing to go in till you move in, and sometimes it can be a real rush. But it's more brave to handle a reno sober. Yeah, I agree. Fortunately, I have an old kitchen in the basement. The ancient stove has a gas turn off, but sink, microwave, and the fridge works. Yeah, so that helps. Oh, I bought paper plates and plastic cups and cutlery. That's very good. So another pro tip, yeah, have some paper plates on the go, so you don't have to worry about that. Really good tip. Here we go. I didn't have the kitchen gutted until after all the cabinets had arrived and the IKEA installation was scheduled. It was a sweet spot of 48 hours. That is a really good planning. Ooh. As a kid, I had an old bachelor neighbor that washed his dishes in his bathtub, even though his kitchen was fine. He had other problems. All right, let's go to the next one. Okay, this one here, permits and zoning restrictions, some problems you can run into. This is interesting. A lot of people don't get permits when they're renovating their kitchen. And generally speaking, if you're doing a gut job of your kitchen, depending on your municipality, I think most this is pretty much for everywhere that I think of, you're supposed to have a permit. A lot of people don't get permits, and I'm not here to tell you to get one or not get one. But I will say that if you do put a dumpster outside your house, then somebody driving by there might get suspicious of what's going on and inquire. And that has happened. It's probably happened in every neighborhood in North America. I know it's happened around where I live that, you see work going on. And in fact, there was one instance of a contractor that I know who got in trouble because someone further down the street was building a house, but the inspector went to the wrong place and went to the place that didn't have a permit and seen that, oh, you guys don't have a permit, and then they got a work stoppage and fines and all that stuff. So make sure that you just follow the proper guidelines for your municipality or your city or whatever it is that you abide by, so that you don't run into trouble with this. Now, getting a permit would definitely cause us some other issues in a kitchen renovation. Not really issues. I mean, it will allow you to make sure things are done correctly, but then you get into delays because now there's inspections involved with electrical and other types of things. So this can create maybe a delay, but I would say err on the side of caution with this one and know, the regulations of where you live and whether or not you can do a kitchen renovation with or without a permit is something that you should know before you get into it. That being said, it happens a lot that people don't get permits and then it's all fine. Whatever. I don't know. Have I ever done a kitchen reno without a permit? Let's move on to the next one. I cannot incriminate myself live. By the way, it's illegal to throw your trash into someone else's dumpster. Yeah, not a good thing. All right. The dumpsters take up 85% of my driveway. Finding parking is a nightmare. Some of the neighbors have been less than neighborly. You can't park in front of my house during the day when I'm not home. Come on, neighbors, just be neighborly. What's wrong? Just jealous that you're getting a kitchen and they're not. It's not fun. Related to permits, should I inform my insurance company that I'm doing a renovation? Will impact my rate? That's a great question. Someone know the answer to that? I don't actually know if that's a thing or not. Thanks for that question. Yeah, your insurance company. I don't know. I don't know if it would impact your rate. Adam says it'll affect your rate. Just talk to my agent. Oh, it will, or just talking to your agent. Um, yeah, no idea. We didn't inform. I've never informed my insurance company uh, when I've had a permit and when I didn't have a permit. But Adam says it will. So that's a good question. I'd need more on that too. So let's just table that one for a bit and see if anyone else has some good things to add. Adam saying again, a new roof lowers your rate. New kitchen makes it higher. Really? Oh, that's weird that a new kitchen would make your rate higher. Wouldn't it have less chance of something happening in your kitchen? When you think an older kitchen, when you'd have a higher rate? Insurance should know, especially materials are stolen. Okay, good point too from Phil. So Phil and Adam are coming from the win so far on this. Yeah, so maybe that's a good point if you are putting in new appliances and new things that could get stolen. Maybe it's a good idea to have that in your insurance company. This is great. That was a great question. After finished reno will improve price of home, so they will reevaluate. I might call my insurance company tonight. Be sure the insurance valuation is updated. Okay, so it turns out maybe you should contact your insurance company for a variety of different reasons, and so yeah, they can reassess the value. Interesting. That is very good. Okay, so there you go. I think that's awesome. Thanks for that question and all those answers. Continue to answer that one as well as we continue to go on. If you have a thought about that, right? That makes total sense. If something happens to your new kitchen, like a fire, you'll be approved for only what's on file, which is your old cruddy kitchen. Okay, I like it. And if you take a loan out, yeah, Phil is saying bank makes you update insurance. Okay, all good stuff. Call your insurance company. Yes, you should call your insurance company. I love it because I learn things. All right, the next one is this one. Ooh, this is a nasty one too. Oh, so nasty when this happens. Contractor problems. What possibly could go wrong with a contractor? I don't know. Like anything and everything could possibly go wrong, and maybe nothing because they're amazing people and they do an amazing job. It's like it's hard to know. But when there are problems with contractors, this can be a real issue. You can lead to legal problems down the road, lawsuits, all kinds of issues. But let's talk with the lesser problems, not the big ones that are that financially problematic. But just contractor problems where contractors don't show up on time, or they double book, or they're obviously not telling you everything that you should know. You're not completely in the loop, or with some faulty installation issues, stuff like that. All these things, depending on if you're dealing with a middleman, like a kitchen, shop that they're handling the installation, you have a good recourse through them. But just having the best kind of communication with your contractor is really good. Sometimes you don't know these things, so it's best to have contractors that come with a really good track record, that you've seen their work, and that you've had other people that at least you could meet or maybe know that have used them in the past, that can kind of vouch for their credibility and their work and whatnot. I mentioned before, should you hire somebody who is new to the area or new to the industry? And that's it's always good to give someone a chance, but it's always a little risky as well. So, you have to take that one with a little bit of caution, I guess. But I always say to find as much detail as possible on the contractor, so that you know beforehand that they are who they say they are, and they're as good as they claim to be, or other people claim them to be. That's as that's the best you can do. Those Adam, are you on? Adam, are you here? Adam, I just got a text saying those glasses. Oh my goodness. Anyway, it's always good to get as much information as possible. This guy, let's text him back. And I've had a lot of survey answer. Hang on, let me overthink this. Do it. Okay, my buddy's on. Yeah, so I've dealt with a lot of contractors, and I know a lot of contractors. A lot of them are great, and I know a lot of not great ones, unfortunately, that just want to get in and out and get your money and run, and don't really want to honor the work that they do. And every time you call them, there's an to get them, you can't get them, or there's some kind of excuse. That can always be an issue. Bluebell saying that her contract their contractor was the worst. Everything he touched is messed up now, and his work was subpar. Still need to hire new professionals to fix the stuff he messed up. So, you know, sometimes that happens. Whether you can prevent it or not, it's hard to know. Sanjeev, hey man, he's saying get a licensed contractor. So that's somebody good, somebody who has an actual business, that they're insured, that come with some reputable background. That's always good. Not always possible, of course, but better than maybe just your backyard guy or your buddy's friend who can install cabinets. Of course, if you're going through like IKEA or Home Depot or Lowe's or any one of those type of big box retailers who are selling you a kitchen, they hire the contractors to do the installation. So at least that part is on them. And if something goes wrong, you go directly to them to get it taken care of. And that's always good to do. And that's the position I had been in for a lot of years, is having to be kind of the middleman and dealing with the installers. But at least the client is able to get taken care of because they have somebody in their corner for them. So Kira saying get a reference if possible. Yeah. And like a good contractor should have no problem giving you a reference or sending you to a previous job that they did so that you can see their work. If they're like kind of they're back up against the wall when you ask them for a reference, it's like not a good sign. Like, obviously we want to see your job. I'm going to give you a lot of money to do this work, so we want to make sure it's done right. So always good. My guy was licensed, just not good. Okay, well, there you go. That's yeah. I wish I had known IKEA installation was a thing. That's unfortunate. Found my contract through an architect, and they've worked together many times. Yeah, it's good when for instance, when I was in the business directly like that, I had a relationship with lots of contractors, lots of people in the industry, and so I knew the ones I could personally say, like, yeah, if you're looking for this to be done, like this guy or girl is really good. Check them out because of my experience in that industry. So having those trade relationships is very good in the industry, and then so relying on someone's relationship with someone can be a good thing. We will need to remove half our hydronic baseboard heaters when we do our kitchen rental, leaving only the front to the ground floor heat. Remove the whole thing? How? Leaving only the front of the ground floor heated. Remove the whole thing. I'm not sure. We will need to remove half of our hydronic-based heaters when we do our kitchen rental. I'm not sure of the question. I'm sorry. Suzanne. Remove the whole thing. How? Anyone want to help me out on that one? I'm not sure how to answer that question. Sorry. I worked with a contractor who didn't match the tile pattern going up the wall. To save me tiles, I had them rework the tile punch so they matched up the wall. I was just trying to save you some money. Yeah, I wonder, was that their excuse? "Oh, I was just trying to save you money," or, "Oh, I'm not good at tiling." It's hard to find good contractors. People are getting into the trades. Yeah, so it'll just get worse. Well, hopefully it gets better too. All right, let's go to the next one. I'll come back to that hydronic baseboard question if I think of it. All right, so we had contractor problems. That's hopefully can be resolved with a little sniffing around. All right, let's talk about outdated utilities. This can be a real problem. Not only that, not only outdated utilities, but if you watched my last week's video with the 10 countertop problems, one of the problems that you can face is just outdated cabinets or doing things in a way that probably are going to end up being a problem later on. So if you have outdated utilities, or by utilities I mean like appliances, things that are going to break down, stuff like that. These are definitely problems. So when you're doing a kitchen renovation and everything needs to be replaced, it's a good thing to budget for all of those types of things like appliances and whatnot. But also, um, if you're like in that video, for instance, putting brand new beautiful countertop on an old dilapidated kitchen is probably not the best idea as well. It's better to fix the those things first and then sweeten it up with all the pretty things like new countertop and backsplash. Get the cabinets functioning better. Put your money into those things first instead of having outdated cabinets or just outdated appliances that are going to break down. These can all be issues and problems. It can easily be solved by just doing them and making sure you take care of those things first. So that's always something to consider. I won't say any more about that one. I don't know. Let's do this one. Incompatible design elements. What do I mean by this? This is so you have things in your kitchen that just don't work. So how do you solve this problem? You have to make sure you have a designer and someone who's working with you to really lay out your kitchen in such a way that's functional for you, the homeowner, for your end use and how you want to use the kitchen, and it not be incompatible with the things that you need in your kitchen and the way that you use the kitchen. And sometimes you can get into a situation where maybe for one you don't know what is functional, or you don't know that you can ask for things to be different than just the standard, and you can always ask for those things. If you need things to be raised or lowered or otherwise, you can ask for that stuff. If you want to make sure that you get the most functioning kitchen possible for your needs, and having something that's incompatible with the way that you use the kitchen is never going to fly. The only time I would suggest having something that doesn't make sense for you is if you're just directly going to sell that house and you're not going to be the end user. So, for instance, I had a conversation with a client recently, and they are building a house to sell, and so some of the things they want to put in the kitchen may be things that they personally like, and so we're trying to figure out, well, what's the best thing that's going to sell the house. And sometimes those design decisions are incompatible with the way that I want to use the kitchen, but since I'm not using the kitchen, it doesn't really matter. And so in those types of situations, you may need to design it in such a way that isn't for you, but for everyone out there who's designing their kitchen and renovating their kitchen for themselves, you don't want to end up with a kitchen that in the end you didn't realize didn't really work that well. And watching content like mine and others who provide as much value as possible to help you get those functional kitchens is a good thing. Going to a bunch of different locations to get layouts and designs done and get as much information as possible from other designers in your area or wherever is really important, so that you can see different perspectives, because everybody has a different way of looking at it, and somebody might see something that somebody else didn't, and that's for your benefit. And then hopefully, if you took that little nugget of information and brought it to me or the designer that was working with you, say, hey, like, look at this. Did you ever think of this? And be like, oh, light bulb. Hopefully, they'll receive that information, graciously, because it just helps everybody out in the future. So avoid incompatible design elements in your kitchen. So, clearances and, spacings, countertops, storage issues, accessibility issues, all those things can be elements in your kitchen that just don't work. And the whole idea is that they work in the end. All right, cool. Let's go back to the comments and we will have a look through. Your comments are so good. My things aren't that great, so I like your comments much better. All right, what's this one? Our kitchen designer had the contractor put the ceiling at exactly 101 inches. You can be that precise when you're doing a reno. You sure can. I'd be interested to know why it was 101. What was the design feature that needed that? Mark, do you run a lot of renovations that have problems with kitchens not being up to code? You see a lot of that on HGTV. Yeah, I wonder how much of that is realistic on HGTV and how much of it's kind of written into the show. I'm sure there's a lot of it. Do I run into a lot of renovations that have problems with kitchens not being up to code? In the past, no, I would say that there was maybe a few kitchens that were not up to code, um, but they were always up to code when we finished. The only time I guess they wouldn't be up to code was when, in the event that they weren't being inspected. Okay, I'll put it to you this way. This happened. This was a real life situation. Um, so I had a client who has had a permit, wanted an island, and for some reason didn't want electrical in the island. And so what they did was install the whole kitchen and without the island. And then the inspectors came in and inspected everything. The electrical inspection passed, approved, move in, you got the keys, away you go. Then they had the island installed and put in the kitchen after the fact without any electrical. I don't know why they didn't want electrical in it, but they didn't. Whereas if they had have put the island in, they would have had to have electrical. So technically, yeah, that wasn't up to code when it was finished. But that's a different kind of thing. Um, but I have seen a lot of kitchens pre-renovation that weren't up to code with electrical, particularly in ventilation. Those are the two things that really cause issues. But yeah, I have to say, like, probably a lesser percent than maybe you'd assume. Maybe. All right, where are we at with our comments here? Oh, Alan's here. Hi, Alan. Our contractor blamed the island disaster on a broken level, which he used to hang the new interior doors. Oh, the old broken level trick, huh? Yeah, I gotta love them. Who knows, right? Yeah, never heard that one before. Be careful of those broken levels. Yeah, they'll be running cords across walkways to their island. Yeah, I don't know why they didn't want any electrical in it, but they didn't, and so they ended up not doing it. Oh, cool. Hey, do you have any videos that discuss range hoods? Our household does a lot of Asian cooking and want to make sure to get appropriate type of hood. I don't have a specific video on range hoods. I believe Jeff does on Homestead Studio Design. I believe that Michael does on Kitchen Cider. I'm pretty sure that they both have videos specifically on range hoods. I will give you this advice that if you do a lot of high heat cooking and you need good ventilation, yeah, you definitely need something that has a high CFM, cubic feet per meter of air that gets rid of that stuff. And that also will require you to have some input air, makeup air, they call it, into that kitchen. So as not to create a vacuum in your home. Yeah. Homestead Studios definitely they have a good one. Yeah, I knew Jeff had one, so I would recommend you go check out his channel. Just search for that HS Studio Design Homestead Studio, and you'll find it. And plus, he's got lots of other great content on kitchen and kitchen design. So yeah, back to that. I know Thermador has some really good industrial strength residential range hoods that are good for that I've steered clients towards, that they move a lot of air. But yeah, I check out Jeff's video on that for sure. I think our range could lift a helicopter. You definitely want something that can pull a lot of air. More like lazy and bad attitude. Try to blame it on IKEA cabinets, but to their credit, they did come back to fix the issues. Amen. That is good. I'm glad they did that. That speaks of a lot. All right, let's go to this one. Limited space is a problem. A lot of people have. Um, and that's a relative problem because the amount of space that you need compared to the amount of space someone else needs, is going to be different. But when you are dealing with a smaller kitchen, or a smaller kitchen to you, what do you do with that case? That's definitely a problem. So, I've said before, you should, and this is my advice, and I know I don't say this is industry wide advice. This is my take on this subject. Um, Make sure, I usually like to prioritize counter space over storage in this instance, because the opportunity for counter space is limited and the opportunity for storage is quite diverse between base, wall, uppers, tall cabinets, whatnot, hidden spaces, and the like. But the opportunity for, or another room for that matter, just a cabinet somewhere else in the garage. But the opportunity for countertop is very limited to the particular kitchen footprint that you have. So if you're limited to space, try to prioritize the countertop over storage if it comes down to give and take in that area. Now that's just my advice. I don't know if all the industry professionals would agree with that, and that's fine. But I would do that, and then also try to make sure that you take advantage of as much of that vertical space as possible. And maybe in this case, if you do have limited space, maybe blocking off a corner like I like to do is not the best solution. Maybe you have to access a corner in a different way or make it accessible, so that it's right for you. And that's really the key thing. Of all advice I give, you all know the things I don't like, but these are all opinions. Some of them I regard as very high opinions because they're my own. What do you want? What do you want from me? But in the event of limited space, maybe that is the best solution, is to do something else like that. And so, and always get a few different eyes on the space. If you get a kitchen design, make sure you have someone else look at it as well. And uh, what a great time to bring up my my one-on-one consultations. So these come in really handy for clients if you want to have a one-on-one conversation with me about your kitchen project. And I do these multiple times through the week for clients who just, they have a design, but they want a second set of eyes on it. Either they're designing it or they have someone else doing it for them. It's always good to get a second opinion, and sometimes somebody else just sees something that maybe you didn't see. So that's on my website. You can check that out if you do need to or want to have a design consultation where we can chat one-on-one about your specific kitchen, and maybe come up with solutions to make it better or not make it better. Maybe it's perfect and you just want some reassurance that you're heading down the right road with your kitchen design. So you can always check that out. And that was a selfless plug. Selfish plug. I don't know. So if you have limited space, there's lots of ways to remedy that. Of course, making it as accessible as possible with pullouts and all that goes without saying. So do all those things that you need to do to make it as functional as you can. Let's go to the comments. Man, I love your comments. Cool. I seen something here. Oh, what's this? Wait, no, hold on. Oh, so many good. I seen something about a divorce because. Oh yeah, here we go. Hoping a kitchen reno doesn't cause a divorce. No, you know what? Here's a. Do I have a? Wait, no, hold on. No, I don't. Okay, I've had in the past clients. Let me get rid of limited space there. I've had in the past clients who they come into the showroom, and they both have these opinions of the kitchen that they want me to solve. Mark, what do you think? And it's like, listen, I I don't want to get in the middle of it. Okay, so you guys got to work that out. For me, with Amy and I, we design, our kitchens. She just leaves it up to me. She's like, you just deal with it. So the less she has to think about, and then she gives her input on the things that she likes and wants, and we just go with that. So it's not that big a deal. So hopefully, yeah, your kitchen your kitchen reno will not cause any marital issues. Of course, there's a ha there, so it's a joke, so it's all good. But it can be strenuous and tense in those moments, and I've been there. They're just arguing about a countertop color, and they turn to me and like, which one would you pick? I'm like, I wouldn't pick any of these. These are both ugly colors, so I don't know what you're thinking. Just they're dealt with. Okay. What is porcelanosa? Is it as good as Man, I'm just coming up zeros here. It's the closest thing to porcelain that he can fabricate in my area. Porcelanosa. Never heard of it. I'm going to have to write that down and do some research on porcelanosa. Sounds sketchy, but I don't have no idea. So I can't comment, but thank you for bringing that up because that's a good one. I love hearing about new things. I don't know if it's sketchy or not. Mark, I need a 24-inch high countertop. My wife in standard height. What do I do? Daniel, what do you need a McLennan? Dan, what? Is that Danny? Do I know you? Mark, I need a 24-inch countertop height. Well, just build the thing. Just a one section, and that's it. And the rest go standard height. Is it okay to fudge the distance between the cabinets and the island in a one-person kitchen as long as the doors and drawers have enough space? Yes. It is, in my opinion, as long as you have that conversation with the client and say, hey, you're going to have 36 inches here. Here's what it's going to look like. Hopefully that works for you, and make sure they're in the loop and they know everything operates. And it's not the standard, but the standard is not something that an inspector is going to be like, oh, it's not standard. They're not looking at those things. So I mean, unless it's jammed on top of the cabinet, yes, it is okay. But normally, try to stick to the standards. Porcelina is the company. I'm curious if X Stone and Carry-On are heat-proof as true porcelain. Could be if it's made like Decton. If it's an ultra compact surface, it very well could be something that's as heat-proof as porcelain. I'd have to look it up for sure to see how it's fabricated. Do you have any thoughts on a range or a sink in the corner of a U-shaped kitchen? If it's 45'd, I guess you can get away with it if you have space for it. If it's not 45'd, obviously I don't have a great opinion about putting, especially a range in a corner. Not a fan of corner sinks generally, but I think if it's 45'd and you have the space, that it can work fine. But if it's again, if it's not 45'd, so if that angle isn't there with the wall and the drywall, I probably wouldn't do it like that. But if it's designed that way, that can be very nice. I got a couple more problems, but you guys have so many. He's also a marriage counselor. Do my best. Marriage success through kitchen renovations. We're in the process of designing our new kitchen, removing walls and making huge changes. You're doing the right thing, Tom. I love hearing the sound of that walls coming down. It's gonna be awesome. Go for it. You're gonna love it. Hey, Melanie, I'm thinking about installing an IKEA kitchen. What are your thoughts on getting a price estimate from Amish craftsmen to duplicate the cabinets? How would the price compare? I in my area, there's no Amish craftsmen, so I'm unsure. At least I don't think there is. I'm unsure of what the price would be. If they can build it cheaper than IKEA, then you're probably in good hands. And with all the same sizes, I would say definitely do it. Definitely get a price, for sure. My thought would be an Amish made kitchen will be quite a bit better quality than IKEA, I think. So I don't know how the price would compare, but because IKEA is pretty low priced for just cabinets. But again, I've never had an Amish Craftsman kitchen priced out. But if anyone has, please jump in and let us know. Oh, okay. Porcelain is a huge tile cabinet shown. Oh, okay. Thanks, Sanjiv. I'll check that out for sure. So, like I said, I don't know on that one. So many good comments. Fudging is not exactly what someone would should be, but close enough to be sweet. Yeah, well, depends on who you're talking to. Mark, when you're going to destroy more countertops, Alan, listen, man, I talked to my dad this week about this. He's got so many ideas. I mean, man, we're bringing in front end loaders and blow torches and heavy machinery. We got cranes. We got the whole thing. So stay put. We're sourcing out samples. That's the first thing I need is samples. And I need people to give me samples. And so that's the one thing. And then, man, I think we're trying to find every which way we can damage countertops. So hang tight for that. That's definitely a spring project, but it's in the air. Yeah, so that should be a fun one. But it's definitely something I want to do soon. Hey, Ashlyn, I agree. Projects in enough space was the right call for my small kitchen. Yeah, awesome. That's good. Oh, you guys are answering each other's questions. I love it. Keep that up. I love it. Awesome. Porcelanosa is where all my tile and porcelain counters are coming from. Pricey but beautiful stuff made in Spain. Okay, so somebody knows something about porcelina or porcelanosa. Obviously, the CEO of Kitchens has never heard of it, but that's okay. Okay, let's go back to. I have two more to go, and then we'll call it a night. Okay, so this is another issue that we can run into. This is lack of natural light. So you just don't have enough windows or small windows, and there's a certain percentage that your window should be. I think it's 8% of the total square footage is required to allow enough natural light. But I say make the biggest window possible. Of course, one of the issues of my own kitchen is I wish I had to put in a bigger window, even though there's a lot of natural light because of the open space of our living room, kitchen, dining room area. That's not an issue, but the more natural light, the better. Now, when you're in a space where you don't have that natural light, of course, you just got to put in as many lights as you can in the most creative ways possible. And there's lots of lighting solutions on the market. So this was an easy one to solve, between task lighting and pendant lighting and ceiling lighting of all different sorts and sconces and ambient lighting and toe kick and under the cabinet, or inside the drawer lighting and under the countertop lighting. There's so many solutions out there. So I guess in that case, just put together a lighting package that just it's going to give you a suntan, and don't neglect the lighting. So when you're going through this kitchen project, make sure you do get a good lighting plan and get something together that you can make sure that you have ample lighting in your kitchen, because you can always turn them off, but you can't turn them on if they're not there, right? So and put them on dimmers. That's always a good tip as well. And whether you have LEDs or you have the old style bulbs, whatever, obviously something that's a little more energy efficient is gonna fare out better for you and last longer. When you don't have enough natural light, or you need to have artificial light sources, put a lamp in the kitchen. There's always a way to do it. You can never have too many lights, in my opinion. So easy one to solve, but it is a problem that can come up if you don't plan for it. Okay, well, if I can get my hands on some X stone, and if someone can send me a sample, I will gladly uh, take my industrial propane torch. You should see this thing, and give it a whack with that. So, yeah, listen, I mean, hey, it's international shipping. I don't know how it's going to fare out. If someone can get me the samples, I'll definitely do it. And yeah, I'm trying to get my own samples, but I would probably have a hard time to get X stone where I live. But you never know. Maybe with our current design, we both saw and liked a stacked range microwave. Stacked. range microwave, large drawers beneath pots and pans. What are your thoughts about putting this at the end of a short leg of an L? Is that an over the range microwave? If that's the case, full on no with the microwave over the range. I'm not a fan. Jackie's a fan and she has one and she loves it. And some other viewers love those. I'm just not a fan of OTRs, over the range microwaves. But that's not, doesn't mean it's not a good idea for you if you don't have any other spot for it and it's on the short end of an L. As long as there is ample counter, as long as you can get countertop space on both sides of that range, that's good. Like at least 18 inches on either side. That can be good. But stacked one on top. Oh, so it's like a double oven, but it's an oven with a microwave. If that's the case, yeah, that can work. Sorry, I thought you meant an over the range microwave, a built-in wall oven. Okay, thanks everyone. Okay, thanks for the clarity. I was having a panic attack that you were thinking about an OTR. On the end of an L. Yeah, I think that's okay. On the short leg, yeah. As long as you like, yeah, again, you're going to have a little bit of landing area, but I don't have a problem with that. The problem with having an oven, microwave, and then a range top is you do need more space for that. But you said before, Tom, you're knocking out a wall and you're getting things redesigned. So make sure you get a bunch of different design ideas and where to put that thing so you can see it visually to help you make that decision. And that'll help you a lot when you see it visually in the location that you want, like in a 3D layout. And then you can kind of make that decision. But without seeing the design and without seeing all the specs and the measurements, I'm saying, hey, that would work. Okay. You do well. Jackie, where's the OTR emoji on here? No, forget about it. Okay, in our upcoming kitchen reno restoration, we're ditching the OTR microwave. So excited. Love it. Thank you for that comment. Working with Wren kitchens. Okay, yeah, I've heard good things about Wren kitchens, so that's cool. They, I'm sure, will treat you well. Oops, let's go back to this. Okay, the last one is this one. So the last problem we'll talk about is difficult access. And that just means that you don't take care of the things like you want to make sure that your new kitchen is easy to access, easy to use. Think about corners, think about fillers, think about the way doors open and where things are. For instance, I said a client we had uh, a run of wall with a cooktop, and then right behind that, so if you're standing at the cooktop, right behind you in the island was a sink. We thought, I wonder if this is the best way to do this, or it's going to create, a little bottleneck in the kitchen if two people are there, one's at the range and one's at the sink, and then you have a dishwasher beside that, so you have just a door opening, and then you have pullouts for pots and pans. So it creates an unnecessary spot in the kitchen where there's going to be this congestion. So when you're designing a new kitchen or renovating your kitchen, really think through, am I creating a spot that's going to be difficult to access, difficult to navigate for even one person or let alone two people? And then there's no reason to do that. So think about the different ways that you can design that space to make the flow of that kitchen the best as possible. So you're not building into it, basically like problems from the get-go. Now, sometimes that isn't an option due to the fact of maybe the size or just other things in that kitchen, but just with some creative planning and thinking and brainstorming about the layout, there's always ways to think about doing it in a way that makes the most sense, and that's kind of the goal. So always aim for that. Obviously, that is the goal for everyone, but it doesn't always happen that way, and so you just don't want to build into the design difficulties that you don't need to have. So that's the last of those. Let's go back to these fun comments. All right, I have OTR microwaves because I don't have an option for venting to outside. Okay. Wished I had this option because that would be first option due to the 18,000 BTU burner on a Cat 6 burner range. Yeah. Well, you do what you have to do, and that's okay. But yeah, you should probably have that vented outside with that 6 burner for sure. But if you can't, you can't. So, but even regular range hoods, you can have those circulate. So, but if you use it and you love it, then that's the main thing. Oh, card craze. I actually. Oh, sorry. So I don't know what that comment was. Okay. Darlene's out. Thanks, Darlene. Appreciate you. Have a great week. Bless you. Thanks for being here. What a oops, sorry. What about narrow doorways making it difficult to access the house when bringing in cabinets? Super good point. This comes into a big issue if you have corner bases that won't fit in your 32-inch door, or pantries. So thanks for bringing this one up because this is a definite problem, that can be solved just by knowing the size of your doors. And sometimes I've I've had to have installers take apart a custom made cabinet on the porch or outside on the patio, and then bring it in pieces and reassemble it because um, it wouldn't fit. So this is a really good point. Thanks for bringing that up. Make sure that the cabinets that you order are going to fit in your door. And then that this is a real issue that comes up from time to time. Good one. Of course, if you're doing IKEA or some other type of flat packed cabinet solution, you don't have to really worry about that because they're coming in boxes. But for a lot of us who are not going that route, this is a good one to think about. Oh yeah, biggest thing. Remember, you can't vent outside. Is clean the filters. And even if you can vent outside, clean the filters. That's good advice from Matthew for sure. Make sure those filters are clean. Mark's video called Kitchen Renovation Survivor Guide is worth watching to make sure your kitchen renovation goes smoothly. Cool, thanks. Yeah, I've survived a few myself, and I've held a lot of clients' hands through a lot of kitchens. Stories to tell. Oh, hi, Mark. Hey, Karen. Our kitchen is finished, but we are still unpacking, trying to decide where to put everything. Do you prefer plates in drawers or upper cabinets? Well, I prefer plates in drawers, and my plates and bowls are in drawers. And yeah, I like them there. The reason, I don't know, it seemed trendy and cool. I don't know if there's a plus or a minus to having them up in a cabinet as to not having them in a cabinet, but personally, I like them in a drawer. So if someone has a better reason for that, let us all know. I just like them that way. They're easy to access. I don't have to worry about dropping a bowl, I guess. I have all my cups and mugs though in cabinets like that and not in drawers. So and also I have plate holders that I like to use. So that's a good thing. And they're in the drawer. So yeah. I can't wait to hear how it all ends up. Awesome. That's been it's exciting. Really exciting when you're at that stage. Pivot. That's a funny one. Getting the couch up the stairs, right? Or down the stairs. That's a good episode. Jackie, everyone hit the like button. Hey, you know what? Look at this. Check this out, Jackie. Uh, Bam. Let's leave that up for a bit. Thumbs up, always appreciate it. My new hood has a dishwasher safe filter. Big upgrade for us. Cool. That's a good thing. Yeah, throw it in the dishwasher. Away you go. Very cool. Listen, if I missed your comment along the way, my apologies. Try to get to as many as possible here, of course. But that's not always possible when I'm trying to talk and do other things as well. But I certainly appreciate that you also, who are watching, can comment and help each other out because that's what it's all about, just getting some information, getting solutions and answers to questions, which is all good, and we can all help out in that. So I do appreciate that. We're going to call it a night, though, and I'm going to go hang out with my precious wife. And after this comment from Phil, I keep plates in upper cabinets. Otherwise, my kids would use them and scream "Opa" and break them into a Greek dance. Just do me a favor, Phil. Just put it on TikTok or something. Just do that. That would be great. Send it to me. Listen, everyone, thanks so much. Upcoming video is about expert tips if you're doing a kitchen renovation through IKEA. Of course, if you don't have IKEA, that doesn't matter. There's a lot of great tips in that video as well. So that's coming up on Saturday. If you didn't check out last week's video, it's a really good one. I'm not just saying it because I did it, but it is actually filled with really good information, all about just countertop mistakes or problems that you can run into to avoid. You definitely want to avoid them if you're putting in new countertops. If you're looking for a one-on-one consultation where we can chat directly, it's over Zoom. You can go to my website and you can book an appointment to do that if you have a kitchen that you want some help with. Or, of course, I have other design solutions that you're more than welcome to look into. But doing the one-on-ones is really beneficial for a lot of clients. So you can check that out if you feel like it. There's a link in the description below for my website. But otherwise, it's www. Oh, no, that's my email. It's right there. Oh, I already had it going. Yeah. Listen, say a prayer for everyone in Turkey and Syria who are just dealing with just the devastation in that area, and of course for all the rescue and aid that's going there to help out, that everything can go as smoothly as possible. Our kitchen problems are really pretty tiny in comparison to some of the stuff that's happening in the world. So keep that on front of mind when you're dealing with some of the issues. Really, it's not that big a deal. At the end of the day, these things will get solved and you'll end up with a great kitchen and hopefully a functional one, a beautiful one. With that all being said, have an awesome, blessed week. I appreciate you all. Thanks for being on here tonight. Thanks for all the great comments, the great questions. And with that being said, I'm going to say goodbye and we'll see you next